Good day everyone, my name is Jmark C. Liba. I'm going to be speaking to you about the national address of His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, former President of the Philippines, on the incident at Mamasapano Maguindanao. I stand before you today to report on what we know about the incident in Mamasapano Maguindanao. Last Saturday and Sunday, I do this not because I wish to preempt the board inquiry task and to uncover the entire truth, but because you have a right to know what we know at this point. On Saturday, January 24, a group composed of members of our Philippine National Police Special Action Force headed to Barangay Tocanalipaw, Mamasapano, Maguindanao. Their mission was serve outstanding arrest warrants to two notorious terrorists who have long been pursued by authorities, namely Abdul Basit Osman and Zulkifli bin Hir alias Abu Marwan. According to the most recent report of the RRMC, 44-hour policeman died in the process of fulfilling their duties, while 16 others were injured, including 3 civilians. As a president and as a father of country, I'm greatly saddened that our policemen had to lay down their lives for this mission. Without question, these people are heroes. They who willingly put themselves in danger to address threats to our security. They who were wounded, they will give their lives in the name of peace. To honor those who perish, I am declaring a national day of mourning to symbolize the sorrow and empathy of our entire country. Marwan and Osman are not common criminals. There is long string of outstanding warrants for their arrest. There are no less than 8 outstanding warrants against Usman alone, while there are no less than 2 for Marwan. One of the earliest warrants is issued in 2002, which means that they were already being pursued when I was member of Congress. Allow me to clarify. When a warrant is issued against an individual, all offers of the law are obligated to serve it. This is precisely why since long ago our security sector, including the AFP, PNP, and NBI, has undertaken multiple operations to capture Marwan, Osman, and other terrorists. The agencies are not always required to obtain an approval of each bearer of their operation because it would be impractical for them to wait for my clearance. Before proceeding my duty to make certain that they are carrying out their responsibilities, there are times who certain matters are elevated to my desk, so I give guidance, give more holistic view of the situation or explain its wider implications. A few examples of these are our response to MNILF elements in Zamboanga, the capture of individuals high on our list most wanted persons, and the assault on our peacekeepers in Golan Heights. In the Golan Heights case, the decision of whether or not depart could not simply be left to our battalion commander there, as the person primarily responsible for foreign relations. I had to be consulted to make certain that we are likewise upholding our obligations to the United Nations. Marwan is a part of the Central Committee of Jemaah Islamiyah, which was responsible for the Bali bombing in Indonesia. In this incident, two consecutive blasts occurred, which meant that first responders and individuals who had not left the area were also affected. 202 people died, and Marwan was suspect in this case. In Cagayan de Oro in 2012, Marwan attempted to replicate this modus. The second bomb did not explode, it, as it was discovered ahead of time, yet two people still died as a result of this incident. There are allegations that in 2006 Marwan, along with Ombra Kato, led a plot to plant a bomb to assassinate then Governor of Maguindanao. Andal ang patuan Marwan's membership in international terrorist networks means that he has the capacity to acquire the knowledge of the equipment at the funding and the necessarily safe events for his yellow terrorist. This is why he was considered the primary target of the operation. Osman, on the other hand, connect to 9 bombing incidents in Mindanao. He is the primary accused in the bombing in General Santos City in 2002, in which 15 people died and 60 were injured. Together with another terrorist named Mawiya, Marwan, and Osman committed several acts of the terrorism in various parts of Mindanao. They are also both non-bomb making trainers. There are reports that run factories of improved explosive device which they sell the fellow terrorists. They have injured and killed many people, and they continue to threaten the safety of our citizens as long as they roam free. I emphasize it has stated in Article 2, Section 4 of our Constitution that the primary duty of government is to serve and protect the people. This is why, when our police force uncovered the precise location of Marwan and Osman, they decide to take action and serve the warrants of the two individuals. Our authorities gathered actionable intelligence. They found just the region, the province, or the municipality, but the very house in which the two were hiding. Not acting on this knowledge would make it possible for Marwan and Osman to escape, which would mean that the long process of gathering information would have to start all over again. It was past 4 in the morning when the staff reached the stronghold in which Marwan and Osman were hiding. In the encounter that followed, the primary target, Marwan, was allegedly killed. Upon hearing the gunshots, Osman and his cohorts fought back. There are also non-combatants spotted in the house in which Marwan and Osman were located. It was necessary for our forces to close the distance to avoid involving the innocent. Marwan house was the first attack. Osman responded, and the element of surprise with the necessary avoid detection was lost. This why the SAP decided to withdraw and earn this was with their companions. We are securing their exit route from the area where encounter occurred. It appears that it was during this withdrawal when the bloodiest part of the clash happened. Like so many others, I have many questions surrounding an incident and expect the board inquiry to uncover the truth behind this incident. In the briefings the PNP gave me about the continuing operations against Marwan and Osman, I repeated countless times the need to proper, sufficient, and timely coordination. The terrain covered by his operation is complicated, muddy with swampland, and there is even the need for this operation complicated muddy swamp. Our staff to cross a river to reach their destination. There are also many other forces scattered in the area. The BIFF, MILF, and even private armed group, even the MLF and BIFF now constitute two different groups of many of them are related by blood or by affinity. Strangers cannot just enter their territory. Our troops needed to enter quietly and carefully. Otherwise, their targets may have been alert. It is precisely because the force of the staff were much smaller than the surrounding numbers who could intervene that it was important for the armed forces to be ready to position their troops. The stores and equipment like cannons or artillery would our police require support. They needed sufficient notice to place their troops where they would be of greatest assistance. In these kinds of encounters, had the assistance of the armed forces been necessary, they would not have been able to mobilize and arrive at moment notice, especially because the members of 6th Infantry Division who were nearest to the action have other duties. To my repeated reminders about the necessity of coordination, the director of the staff answered, "Yes, sir. All that said was that operational security, or the restriction of information only those who needed to know, was likewise necessary. Even then, I underscored the need to alert other branches or their respective heads. The notification must come at the appropriate time with complete information. For them to make the necessary preparations, I wonder how and why could I have happened. What the notification of AFP battalion close to operation only came close to time of jump off even after our forces had already jumped off. The problem there was that soldiers who are members of battalion assigned to guard the main supply routes to this location were scattered in different areas. In simple language, the notification to the AFP came too close the time of encounter, thus making it difficult to determine if they were given enough time to prepare had their assistance been necessary. If my order to ensure sufficient coordination had been complied with, the perhaps in was pushed pushed to the limit, resulting in the minimum compliance. In fact, I was surprised to learn that the heads of the Western Mindanao Command or even of the 6th Infantry Division had only been advised after the first encounter involving Marwan and Osman. The sub force were already retreating and the situation had already become problematic. Now on the MLF, we have already made such great strides because we trust one another. We have already proven we can work together. In 2014, a Japanese national was rescued in Maguindanao. In that same year, we were able to prevent explosion of a bomb in Maguindanao. I have also read the statement of Chairman A1 Ha Murad about the Mamasapano incident. The MILF's formation of special investigative commissions in order to determine details of incident constitutes a good first step. I'm hopeful that the MLIF will show in the soonest possible time even more concrete evidence of their solidarity in the pursuit of this towards the pursuit of truth and the accountability of those responsible. Let us also avoid spreading rumors and fueling speculation about the incident. The Bible itself says, "The truth shall set us free." There is already a board of inquiry assigned to uncover the whole truth. Let us wait for the result of their findings. We have already come such a long way in our request to realize the peace that we have long desired Muslim Mindanao. All sides exhibit great trust to reach this point. The incident in Mampasano has already given rise to those who want to take advantage of this strategy to undermine the trust they wish detail the peace process, where even some already calling for halt to the passage of Pangsamoro Basic Law in the House of Representatives and Senate the Senate. This should not happen. The success of the entire peace process is contingent on this law. If his law is kept from being passed at the soonest possible time, the peace process will be derailed. The status quo will remain. If that happens, we cannot hope for anything but the same result. Citizens who take the mountains after losing hope. Individuals kept from gaining justice, who instead chose to exact violence on their fellow men. It would be as if we helped Marwan and Osman to reach their goals. The movement to return the point when communities are already at moment notice to flee to evacuation centers because of the threat of encounter. If this were to happen, who would benefit? If the peace process were derailed, how many more graves would we have to dig? How many more children will idolize Marwan? How many will want to grow up to be Osman? How many engineers will choose to build bombs rather than buildings? Let us also remember, the members of SAF lost their lives while fulfilling their duties to maintain the peace. If the peace process fails, if we return to the status quo, or if the violence were to worsen, is the not exact opposite of the cause to which they gave their lives. Is it not true? And in facing this challenge, in order to realize peace, should we not link arms more tightly and pursue with greater determination that take steps in the process like passing the BBL, forming the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, widening opportunities for all and correcting a political system where a few benefit to the detriment of the majority of our countrymen. To the families of the South, members who perish, I fully sympathize with your grief. I know that this grief may be accompanied by worries about your future, especially if your loved one will sacrifice their lives were also your breadwinners. I guarantee the state will give the maximum assistance I can within the limits of the law and rules on the occasion. I also take opportunity to appeal the public. If possible, let us extend our utmost supportive to brave, brave it and maximize the help we can give the families of those who feel recognition of the valor of these heroes, who gave their lives for realization of the peace we have long desired. In the face of our grief, in the face of the desire of some exact revenge, in the face of threats to destroy the trust we have forged over such a long period of time today, our ability to show compassion to our fellow men faces as a greatest. This is why, to all of my countrymen who desire peace, from lawmakers to the members of the uniformed forces, to the leaders of the MILF, to our countrymen in the Bangsamoro and the every descent Filipino, let us show what heights country united by a single aspiration can reach. Let us ensure that the ultimate sacrifice made by some members of the South does not go to will be again justice in time through the right process and without letting go our dreams to realize a widespread and lasting peace. Thank you and good day to all. Peace.